What is going on a Friday, my people? So today, absolutely getting my walk in no matter what. It's a little bit open sky right now, but we got lots of rain going on. So if I got wind or rain or anything that comes up, I apologize for that up front. But today, I wanted to ask you a silly question. Is it past your bedtime? It may not be actually sleep time right now, but the reason I want to bring this up is because many of us as adults actually don't have a bedtime. It's kind of just whenever we get done doing a bunch of random crap that we do throughout the day and then we finally fall asleep. And that is a really, really scary situation to be in if you are trying to maintain your health or stay productive or keep on a regular schedule or do a lot of things that require you to sleep. We spend about a third of our lives in bed on average, depending on how much you sleep, but that's a huge percentage of our life that goes into this, routine of sleeping. And it's very, very important that you create a schedule for this if you are trying to maintain health or be productive or, just feel good. Holy crap. So today, I want to talk to you about how I create a bedtime. It sounds very simple. It's like, oh, this is the time I go to sleep. Well, that's the definition of it, but how we decide when that is very important to structure. So the number one thing that you have to look at in determining the bedtime is, when do you want to wake up? So we're going to reverse engineer this process with you guys today. I just wanted to give away some free value today. A lot of times I charge people for this stuff, but because you guys are friends with me here, we are talking live. I'm going to give you a little bit of a structure, so hopefully this can apply to your world. So determining when do I actually need to get up to start my day tomorrow is the very first step to deciding when it is that you need to go to sleep. So once you know, hey, I need to get up by 6 a.m. Okay, we'll just throw a random number out there. If 6 a.m. is your wake time, the next question you want to ask yourself is, how long do I plan to sleep? And again, this is going to vary based on who you are, what you do. I've heard of some people that say they can live on 2 hours of sleep. Other people say they need 10. The average for adults is 7 to 9 on a healthy scale. If you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, yes, you can survive. And yes, you can get through it, but it's not optimal, okay? Some people get used to that. You're a very rare case if that's how you're working in the world. For me, I need about 7. That's my magic number. So if I'm going to bed in time to get 7 hours of sleep to get up at 6 o'clock, that means I need to be in bed by 11 o'clock. That sounds pretty reasonable. Sometimes that may go, up or down depending on the time that you actually make it to bed. But the point is to set the goal. We want to set a place of finalization for our day. And the reason that this is important is because the mental connection to that time frame determines a lot of the stuff that we do up until that time frame. So if you don't have a decided bedtime, sometimes you can just crush yourself all the way into 2, 3 a.m. and then, oh my God, I got to get up here in a couple hours. I need to get to sleep and, get a couple of hours, and then I got to get back up at 6, and like your whole day just runs in chaos. And so we have to determine, when are we going to end our day? Sorry, big extreme truck. When are we going to end our day based on when do we want to start tomorrow? Okay, so that's kind of number one, is like, how much sleep do I plan to get to create those time frames? The other reason that this is important is it also has to do with intake of food and water. So when you go to sleep, you don't want to go to sleep right after eating dinner or eating anything really. I don't recommend to go to sleep within 2 hours after going to bed, or after eating, because whatever you eat is then going to be stored. You're not going to be moving around and doing anything. It's just going to be stored as fat. So you want to make sure you give yourself at minimum a 2-hour window. Oinum, hope I said that right. Good to see you, my man. But you want to have at least a 2-hour window prior to going to bed where you are no longer eating anything. This also applies to water. This is very, very important. The food thing is one part of it, But the water is a huge piece of it. Not only do we want to make sure we're hydrated so that when we go to bed, our body can do what we need to do, but we don't want to be overly hydrated when we go to sleep and have a full bladder, because our body will probably wake us up and make us go to the bathroom, which is okay. That's the natural structure. But what happens is you break your sleep cycle. You stop the melatonin production. You stop a lot of the things that happen in the REM cycle that allows your body to actually heal and recover as part of the sleep. And so structuring the intake pieces of water and food towards the end of the day is also based around what time you plan to go to bed. So this bedtime thing actually creates so much importance in our world based on all the other things that go around it. How long we're gonna sleep, when we're getting up, when we're stopping our food and water intake. All these things are based around the bedtime. So you wanna reverse engineer that process so that as an adult, holy cow, these guys are on it today. They are moving dirt. We got lots of construction going on around me. So I just wanted to jump in with you guys today real quick. I don't want to keep it too long, but having you understand the importance of a structured bedtime, man, I never realized until I set it up. And I was listening to a call yesterday, one of the coolest calls I've heard in a while, that talked about humming. And now this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today, but we went through this exercise of implementing humming as part of a mental awareness and a restructuring of our emotional feeling in the moment. And the reason that was important is once I did that little motion and I got done with it, I was like, wow, I didn't realize I was feeling a certain way until after I had gone away from that feeling. And so going through that humming process allowed me to feel a different way, and I became aware of what that humming process actually gave to me. And this is the exact same thing for sleeping. If you have operated for years and years and years without a bedtime, and you figured it out and you made it work, that's okay, it'll happen. But when you create that structured cycle of sleep based on when I'm gonna go to bed and when I'm gonna wake up, based on how much time I wanna have in bed, holy crap, does it create an awareness of how important those time frames are. Not just duration, but start and stop. And when you include the other pieces of the cutoff of food and water, as well as some of the other pieces like, being in a dark room and keeping it quiet and all those sorts of things, the quality of sleep that you get is amplified. It goes through the roof. And so if you have this created structure every day and you do it regularly for a couple of weeks, your body gets used to that. You get used to when I'm supposed to go to bed, when I'm supposed to wake up, how long am I going to be asleep? You train your body to become accustomed to these things. And so this is what people do year after year that allows them to actually wake up without an alarm. You train your body to be in these cyclic motions that allow you to repair and recover and be the best version of yourself. So guys, if you are over the age of 3 years old, you probably had a bedtime at some point, okay? It's hard to get 3-year-olds on a bedtime structure. If you did that already, man, power to you as a parent. But if you are, an adult, hopefully you're an adult listening to this, having a structured bedtime is not something for kids, it's something for people. People sleep, not just kids, okay? So reverse engineer this process for yourself. Figure out what time every single day you want to get up so that you have that set point. Count backwards in hours, the number of hours that you plan to be asleep, and set that go to bedtime. And that then, creates a place where you can say, okay, I want to have my water intake and my food intake done within at least 2 hours prior to my go to bedtime. If you can do it, 3 to 4 hours for food, that kind of helps get a little bit more digestion happening. But water, you don't want to give yourself too long without going, putting some water in your body, because it's such a huge piece. But you have to understand that if 2 hours before your bedtime you stop drinking water, and then you sleep for 8 hours, that's 10 hours that you haven't had any water. So when you wake up the next day, better be believing that you are going to be dehydrated, okay? So you don't want to extend that dehydration period for too long prior to going to bed. So the sleep time definitely has a big play on putting water into your body as well. Man, didn't realize I was walking by such a heavy construction site, so I apologize for that, guys. But I appreciate you jumping in with me, listening to this little talk about setting a bedtime for yourself. If you are having a trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, or creating this structure and getting this consistency down, leave me a comment. Let me know. I've got some extra tricks that can help with some of these pieces. I have done this for so long now myself that my body will actually not allow me to sleep more than 7 hours. I can't really stay up past my bedtime very well. I can't sleep in past my wake up time very well. It's become such a structure that my body relies on and is trained to do. So if you guys are looking for something that will help you improve the quality of your sleep, get a regular consistency of when that's happening, and you need a little bit of help, let me know, and we'll definitely connect and make sure you get that done. So I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your Friday, and we will see you next time.